Hi, this is Lejeune with Lejeune Singleton LLC, Fitness, Health, Nutrition, and Wellness Podcast. Today, I'm talking with online fitness academy owner of Body Fit Queen LLC, who is a holistic health, fitness entrepreneur, accountability coach who specializes in helping moms. I would like to welcome Rita Weston. Thank you for joining me today, Rita.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Okay. Can you give a background on who you are?
Okay, so once again, yes, I'm Rita. I was born in the Virgin Islands. I grew up in New York for the most part. I've always been in love with fitness, and fitness varied throughout the years. It was like volleyball, it was CrossFit, boxing, but I've always dabbled in fitness. I'm a mother, and basically I've always given my life, all my careers have been based around helping people get through obstacles to their goal. So I've worked in the Department of Health, Department of Education, and Department of Mental Health.
And I myself have worked in all those industries. So, how do
Yeah.
you feel that when it comes to your past jobs, how do you feel that ties into health and wellness?
Okay, because when I've worked in the Department of Education or the Department of Health, I've met clients who have came in for one thing, like they're struggling in, just learning how to grasp a certain concept. Like it could be a child or adult, and they're struggling in one area. But I've learned just with working with them that using fitness and using health and talking about how they eat and talking about the whole person, like where your mind is at, has helped them get to their goal faster. Like before, I was kind of like running into a wall. Like, okay, how can I get this child, who has all these disabilities or all these barriers to get where they need to go. And it's like once I talked to the family and found out how they eat and what they do, and just basically I built a plan. That's what I've been most successful I should say, is when I built a plan around each client and just kind of like saw the whole person. Because when you come in all my careers, it has been you're coming in for a certain purpose,
Right.
I need help with this. But once I got to know the whole person, I was able to help them faster because we're able to see the other obstacles that are tying in to stopping you from hitting your other goal. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so how did you start in holistic health and fitness?
Well, growing up in the Caribbean for part of my life, my grandmother did not believe in medication or anything of that sort. So when I came here and then I saw people just like whenever they get a headache, taking medication, it
Right.
was like, it was a little bit of a shock, you know what I mean? Because that's not how I grew up. Like if I went to school and say you had your period or my stomach is hurting a little bit, people, even like teachers would be like, maybe you need to take a Tylenol, maybe you need to do this. And it's like, no, I just need to take a nap or go have like a quiet space for a few minutes. Like that's how I grew up. So I want to credit to that. And then basically it's always been like my side thing. I'm usually always asking people like, if you don't feel well, what did you eat today? Because I think people ignore a lot of the signs in their body. When you get a headache, it's telling you something. It's not just a headache. It's never just a headache. It's either you
Right.
had too much salt, that bag of chips
Right.
is triggering something. It's usually something else, maybe you were, stressed out, but it's never just a headache. A lot of these are signs we need to listen to. And I guess just doing it on the side, like helping friends or different things, I found I love that. Like I love helping people get back to, I want to say nature, but it's not even nature. It's just getting back to knowing yourself. That's all it is.
Right.
And listening to yourself more, because we ignore a lot of stuff.
And that is so true, especially when it comes to we are quick. We are the pharmaceutical country.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to doctors, doctors get paid from pharmaceutical companies, most of them. So they're pushing pills. So everybody's go-to is a pill.
Mm-hmm.
And which is really scary because of the side effects that come with the pills. You not able to sleep, you have headaches, it
Mm-hmm.
lowers your sex drive, it, gives you diarrhea, constipation, all these things, which is really scary. So I
Mm-hmm.
do think, holistic is a better approach of figuring out what you're putting in your body. If it's too much sugar, if it's too much salt, are you stressed out? What's going on with your work day, with your personal life, things like that. So that's definitely important. So how long have you been in the US? Well, still in US, but how long have you been in New York?
Yeah, because Virgin Islands is the U.S. So New
Yeah.
York. Oh wow. So I'm 39 now. So I've been here for I want to say like I want to say like 30 years. Yeah, I guess. So not that. I guess that's not that bad. But I mean, every holiday and every time it was a break from school, I had to go back home because half my family was there. So I never got to really like hang out until like college. Did I get to hang out like here in the U.S. Like every break, I was back home.
So, of course, the food here is totally different than in the Virgin Islands. Was that a huge transition for you?
Not really, because the Virgin Islands is Americanized,
Right.
so it has the McDonald's and all that kind of stuff there too. It's just a little bit further because in the city, so a lot of times you have to like drive far to go to this place. So for the most part, here it's just that it's readily accessible. So I feel like because it's like at every corner, it's easier to like indulge in that kind of food. But I think just growing up here, just with my family, they weren't big on like eating out.
Hmm.
So the only time we got to eat out felt like it's a reward. So it almost made us feel like, oh, McDonald's is a big deal because we only get it like, once every 2 weeks. So it was like, yes, this is a reward. But yeah, it wasn't that much of a difference. I mean, I definitely feel the food is fresher, when you're getting fish and
Right.
stuff from the islands, yes. But here you
Yeah.
have to search and look for the food you want.
Yeah, I was 2014. I went to St. Thomas and St. John, and I stopped at a Wendy's. And I don't know, the Wendy's food seemed totally different than the Wendy's here because if you eat at a Wendy's here, you feel like really heavy.
Mm.
And after I ate it there, I didn't feel that heavy feeling or whatever. So I don't know if it's like the oil or something different that they use compared to here.
Mm-hmm. I don't
So
know.
yeah, so it was quite interesting. So what was your decision behind your target population to help moms with healthy, sustainable habits?
Okay, so I believe, I mean, if you empower and change the health of like one mom or woman, basically you change the life, you know, of the family and ultimately like the world, right? So, I mean, for me, I didn't really have health concerns or weight issues until I became pregnant. Like my first pregnancy, I was like a model client for the doctor. I was eating avocado and I was walking everywhere. But my second pregnancy was like, I was like living in a bakery to the point the bakery knew my name. And they actually
Oh wow.
asked about my child when she was born. And we call her Cupcake because I was living in the bakery. So basically I learned how like when you give birth, and I think we're not always told this, but when we give birth, a lot of women feel like depressed and all that stuff because of just the weight gain, because of how it feels, because your body is different. It's hard on a woman physically when you're pregnant, but also emotionally. We're responsible for the life of a child, and then we a lot of times put ourselves on the back burner with like no end in sight, and we say it's okay, like, oh, I'm not going to be able to go and hang out and enjoy the stuff I love until I'm 18, until the child's 18. You know what I mean? So we
Right.
kind of make that okay, and then society makes it like if you're not happy and you're not smiling and giving out cupcakes, homemade cupcakes at that, then you're not a good mom. So there's so much pressure on moms to be perfect and to like, hold down the fort. And I feel like, especially with Black moms, we need to know like it's okay to ask for help, and it's okay, to say, okay, I'm not happy with my body, I need to change it, and put ourselves first. So that's kind of why I target more moms, because I was there. And I don't think a lot of people know, like, there's a high percentage of pregnant women who get diagnosed with mental health disorders, primarily
Right.
depression. And then after they give birth, a lot of women also, so it's like 15 to 20% of women after they give birth have depression. You know what I mean? So it's like, I just kind of feel like that's the market, like, especially if you target them, you help the whole family. Because if mom's not happy, it's going to trickle down to the child. If mom's not eating good and not taking care of herself, you know, these habits are the children are going to follow the same habits, you know? So that's
Yeah,
kind of
sure.
where that came from.
Okay. And can you provide an example of what a mom can expect by receiving services from you?
Okay, so I mean, on top of like, because I have an academy that basically focus on the whole person. So initially, it's like a getting to know you phase. I want to know the foods you love, the foods you hate, the foods you could do with, you know, like every day if you had to, you could eat it every single day. And the foods that you hold as a quote crutch, because we all have something, or we all start off having something. And some of that stuff is not good. It might be coffee, like I have to have coffee every day, or I have to have my glass of wine. So I find out a lot about you. And then from there, I come up with a plan and tell you how long before you're going to hit your goal. And I make sure your goal is really your goal. It's not just like to look pretty for somebody else. It's something that you in your heart will be comfortable with and you want. And there's like steps to the program. I do focus on mindset, because if you don't love yourself, and that's something we have to work on. Sometimes even after I gave birth, I had to work on it again. You know what I mean? Because, you know, all the phases in life as women, we change. And if we don't check ourselves, we'll easily stay down, you know? So we want to work on mindset. When you look in the mirror, you already see the person you want to be. You already love this person, so that it'll be easier for you to stay motivated and hit your goal. On top of that, there is workouts. So I do want to know what you like doing. If you like volleyball, you like running, or you're not really into working out in the gym, that's fine. We come up with something you could do in the house. If you only want to work out 20 minutes a day, then we will come up with something that will fit that. It might extend your goal, your program to get to your goal, but in the whole scheme of things, my point is that I want you to come up with something you could do the rest of your life. So after the program is over and you hit your goal, this is not going to be something, oh my God, how do I maintain it? No, this is your new life. So if you hate something about it, this is why it's like more of like friends working together and accountability. Because if you hate something, say you hate it, because this is the life you're building, the new life, the new habits you're building to sustain. So that's basically what the program is. Because I mean, you can find workouts anywhere. You can find diets anywhere, but it's kind of bringing it all together and bringing it to you, like where you're at. Do you have a mental diagnosis? Do you have injuries? Like let's work it all together. Do you sleep? Are you opening a new business? You know, because all this stuff plays a part in your health and how you're going to eat and how much time you have to work out, you know? So yeah, generally, I get all that information, make a plan, and give them an actual date they can hit their goal. And I'm like, if you do everything I say, you'll hit your goal by this date. If you don't, then I'm willing to like train you for free. That's fine. Because I know if you listen to me and you're really straight up and you say, this is what I need and this is what I hate doing, and we make a plan based around what you say you love, you know what I mean? Then there should be no reason for you not to hit your goal. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's generally what the program is about.
Okay. And how did you change your mindset for healthier eating for yourself?
So, I mean, I've always ate relatively good. I think the pregnancy, I think I fed into the whole, like, since my first pregnancy was so healthy and I was so on top of it, I just fell into that mindset, like, oh, I'm pregnant. I could do what I want. I could eat what I want. I could do this. And yes, you should enjoy your pregnancy, but it's still a level of accountability and just being like, okay, is this really good for the baby? Would I be giving the baby 3 cupcakes a day? You know what I mean? Like, you have to really step back. And, you know, and after I gave birth and I saw, because you kind of think in your head, this is all baby weight. You know what I mean? When I give birth, it's going to all snap back. It's fine, you know? But after I gave birth, I was like, I didn't feel good. I didn't feel good. I didn't feel like how my body felt. Like the second pregnancy, it was fine, the pregnancy itself, but afterward, I just felt sluggish. I just felt like this is not my body. It's not how I'm supposed to be huffing and puffing going up like 5 steps, you know, like, and I already gave birth. So why am I feeling like this? You know, so that was a wake up call. And it basically was like, I'm already in health and fitness. Like, there's no excuse. And I used to beat myself up in the beginning because I'm breastfeeding. I have a toddler because my children are 2 years apart. So I was just beating myself up. And at some point I was just like, you know, thinking like, what would I tell my clients? You know what I mean? Because sometimes you have to step
Right.
back. Like, even if you're a professional, there's times you fall too. And I will always say, like, it's okay to fall, and it's okay to be like, okay, I'm in a bad place, but you got to get back up. So it became where I'm writing stuff, positive stuff, posting stuff. And as much as it's sometimes people say it's like silly to have all this positive stuff around, it's like you do need to trick your mind and be like, you're not where you want to be. But that doesn't mean you're going to stay there. You know what I mean? As long as you believe you're not going to stay there, you won't stay there. But if you stay, mellowing and just in that bad place, there's no way to get out. But if you're looking up at where you're going, you'll eventually dig yourself out. So it was just building new habits. And I built new habits around my children, like when they're sleeping. Okay, so I kind of forced me to make a schedule. When my newborn is sleeping, even though she slept for 2 hours, because when you're breastfeeding is, every 2 hours,
Right.
it was like, I'll do a 20-minute workout while she's sleeping. And then the next time she go to sleep, I'll take a nap. And then the next time I'll play my 2-year-old and we'll run around. Like, I'll include him in my workouts. And that was amazing. Because he still remembers that kind of stuff. Like, we always played together. We didn't always play together. I was working out, but he saw it as we always played together. So it's
Right.
like little stuff I had to incorporate in my schedule so that it just made sense. And then the food followed, because I started being like, why am I buying extra junk that I'm not going to feed a 2-year-old? No, let me just buy the same way I'm mashing up whole foods for him. Let me just eat whole foods. And then it all kind of worked together when I dealt with like my whole picture and what my life is now with a newborn, Yeah.
And what are your nutritional habits?
My nutritional habits, I would say I drink 1 gallon to 1.5 gallons of water a day, and that's like mandatory. I'm vegan, but my nutritional habits have always been just whole foods. For people who eat meat, I'm always stressing, like, have your plate be more meat and vegetables than, grains, if you can help it, but not to cut out carbs, but just like make sure the majority is just nutrition stuff. If your carbs are black bean spaghetti, or it's like, nutritious whole grain stuff, then yeah, that's fine. But a lot of times our carbs tend to be bread and tends to be white rice, and
Right.
in our society it focuses on more of the wasted carbs. So yeah, I just focus on making sure my plate is colorful. I love a colorful plate. Maybe because I went to art school at some point in my life, but I love it being like an array of like vegetables and stuff. And yeah, that's basically what it is. Just keep it whole foods, and I drink a lot of water.
And do you feel that you struggle when it comes to getting enough protein in your diet? Because I know most vegans struggle with trying to get enough protein because they may or may not be getting enough.
Okay, so that's a real problem with vegans. I mean, it depends on your goal, because a lot of times our diet does have enough protein. If you're eating, spinach, and you're eating, a shake or whatever, you can't get enough protein. It's when you want to build muscle, or when you want to bulk, or like, when it's like you want to be really cut up, then yeah, it can be difficult. You are gonna have to like include a protein shake, because just eating tons of beans and spinach, most people won't want to eat as much as you would need to get like 130 grams of protein in your diet, So yeah, it's just easier just to include the supplements, right? But it all depends on your goal. If you're not worried about actually like going into a competition or putting on like a lot of mass of muscle, then on a regular vegan diet, yeah, you could get enough protein.
And what struggles and challenges have you experienced as well as your clients?
Wow, that's a good one. Like, I have so much struggles and challenges. I mean, we all get to that point. Sometimes you see a common one, and sometimes my clients will see a little bit of success, like they'll lose the 20 pounds, and maybe their goal is to lose 40 or 50, and they'll lose the 20. And they will kind of like, oh, you don't have to check up on me that much. You don't have to do this that much. Like this almost, like they feel they got it. And I think we all get to that point, even in business. You have a little bit of success and you kind of like mellow out, which I call it kind of self-sabotage. Because once you get a little bit of success, you should keep going and keep doing the things you did to get the success. Don't now, pause or say, okay, I could have that wine because I got halfway to my goal. I could have this because that's going to slowly trickle back to your old habits. You got to stay consistent on what's got you to that point. So that's one that's relatively common. And then other obstacles, I mean, I've dealt with people with injuries or people with mental health or with depression, and it's just having the person like being with you throughout this process. And I feel like that's the biggest part to my program. It's just the accountability. I feel like, just having somebody there who you could vent to and be like, I hate that I'm the only one doing this and the rest of my household is eating cake and whatever. Or I hate, you need that. You need, just for your mental health sake, you need to be able to like say, I'm mad at this, or, so I feel whatever obstacle they're going to, sometimes they can't tell their friends and family, or sometimes your goal might be to lose a few pounds, and your spouse might love you where you're at and might sabotage you too. So sometimes they don't tell the other person I'm in this program. They'll just be like, nope, I'll just tell you. So I'll vent to you because they don't want me to lose a lot of weight, but I'm not comfortable at this weight. So it's just usually things that you just need somebody else to give you a new perspective on, because that's what obstacles are. Obstacles are a point for growth. So for us, when you're going through it, when I was at my worst point, I had 2 beautiful babies and I just felt ugly, and people would be like, no, you looked beautiful then, whatever. But it's just like, I felt this way because
Right.
how you feel and what feels better on you. And when I was at that point, it's just having, you need somebody else sometimes to be like, get up, or you need that like waking. And a lot of times my clients that I trained at that point, just having to tell them certain things, I saw myself saying it to myself, if that made sense. Like when I'm telling them, you're here right now, but it's not what you're going to stay. It's like, I was like, what the hell? I should be saying this to myself. So it's funny how it just, helping them helped me too. So I feel like no matter what obstacle, because no matter, I'm a trainer and all this stuff, but it's also like we go through stuff. People are going to die in your family. God forbid, people are going to die. Some people might have health concerns at some point. You may get an injury, because I do CrossFit, I do boxing. That can happen. It's not,
Right.
So things happen. Nobody's exempt from it. So just having that like mindset where you're able to talk through these obstacles, and you know this is not a place you have to stay. Because a lot of the country has back problems and knee problems. Just don't use it as a crutch. You have it, but you don't have to stay there. There are things to get out of it. So just, I don't like to really stay in the obstacle part. I'm always about like, okay, where can we have the other areas of your life support this obstacle so you can push your way out? Because usually when one area is down, there's other areas that you can see beauty in. You know what I mean? Like, even though, I was feeling bad about how I looked or how I felt when I had my daughter, I had 2 beautiful babies. I had a house. I was doing good business-wise, So it's like you got to sometimes look at the whole picture, because usually you're not down in every area, and those other areas can help push you back up. So that's kind of so a little bit of therapy sometimes in this field, but, you have to deal with the whole person. And that's the main thing. I think we focus on societies, focus on a 6-pack, and focus on, okay, you need to just eat 1,000 calories, or you need to do this. Well, no, you need to take care of yourself. You need to put yourself first, mom or not. Put yourself first. It's not being selfish to say, this is the kind of food I should eat, or my household should eat. Kids might be upset for a little while, but eventually they all get used to it.
That's true. Yeah.
And if you're the one buying it, I mean, how else? They can't really, what can they do? They can't go outside and get chips when they're 4.
Right. Yes.
So
how do you assist clients after they've left your program to overcome challenges?
Okay, so the program is really just about retraining and habits, and I'm keeping you accountable to these habits till you hit your goal. Usually I suggest them adding, like if you're going to get your goal in 20 weeks, I usually suggest you add like 5 more weeks. Just the 5 weeks, or just be focused on maintaining like what you would do. And then you will come to me with all your hypotheticals, whatever. But usually once you've kind of done it for that period of time, you know how to keep it up. You know what I mean? Because this is stuff you like already. You made the tweaks throughout the program. You're like, I hate doing this, or I hate lunges, or I hate whatever. And we were able to tweak it. And I was able to show you, okay, after this point, this is how you're going to progress. This is how every week you're going to keep like a calendar, and every 4 weeks you're going to do this. You know what I mean? It's like basically teaching you how to continue doing this yourself. Because the point of it is like, I don't want you to, I mean, as much as I would love clients to stay with me forever, the goal is that you hit your goal, you're able to maintain it, and this is your life. And the good thing about this being your life is also going to trickle down to your kids or your family, because once they see you're hitting your goal and you're healthy and you're doing well, they'll kind of ask you like, what's up? You know, so hopefully you refer them to me. But but yeah, that's the goal. It's not for you to stay forever with me. It's for you to, you know, get the tools you need to hit your goal. Because I see all this stuff, and I you know, I love Instagram, but a lot of times people's problems can be solved with just looking at your habits and just looking at your day. Because we don't realize if we sit and write down what you do all day, you realize I wasted a lot of time on Instagram. I wasted a lot of time, you know, in the supermarket. Like sometimes just random stuff that you wasted a bunch of time, you know, when if you had a list and if you know what you're doing today and you had 4 things you want to check off for the day, you'll be much more productive. So it's just like getting yourself more organized so you can hit the goals you need to hit. You know, that's all I really am doing, like having them, you know, organize their day a little better. And they usually give me feedback, like, no, this is not going to work. This is not going to work, or whatever. And we kind of work together and figure out, okay, I know you have a newborn. All right, what time? You can't work out at 4 a.m. I get it. So when she takes a nap, that's your workout time. You know, like when she takes a nap, or when your husband comes home, you give him to her, you meal prep on Wednesday, whatever it is. But we figure out what works for you, and we kind of like implement it. And then we discuss how did it work this week. It didn't work. You know, we kind of tweak it, because the goal is you hit the ground running after you finish the program. And you're like, you know, Rita, I don't even need you anymore. I got this, you know, because that's what makes me feel good. Yeah.
And do you offer meal prep, or is that something that they come up with on their own?
No, so the program has all that. Basically, it's 3 levels. And the highest level or whatever is basically the most support. So it's me contacting you every day. I can see your workouts. I can see if you did your workouts, because I'll give you workouts to do it. And I could see that you logged in and did the workout. Basically, I could log in and see what you ate, because you're going to jot it down. Like when I eat a gram of Cheerios, whatever you eat, you're going to log everything in. So I'll be able to see, okay, this is where you're falling off, because you're getting up at midnight and you're eating, you know, whatever it is, French fries. Or, you know, I'll be able to see you're having a lot of dairy in one day. And yeah, so with the highest accountability program, that one I actually do tell you based on what you like or dislike, like what you're going to eat. I give you like a very detailed meal plan. With the second level, it's more like I give you a template. So I'll say, these are the things I want you to try to stay away from or minimize during the week. And the third level is just kind of guidance. Like I want your food, I want you to know where your food came from. So if you look at the label and you don't know like 3 or 4 ingredients, then no, I want you to know like it's an apple or it has this, and like you're familiar with the ingredient. So that's kind of the third level. But third level is usually people who are either in maintenance or they already are kind of like, they got the workout down pack and they're, you know, they don't need as much of me calling them every day, because the third level, I just call them like once a week, you know, so it just depends on what level of accountability you need. Yeah.
So what are some of your favorite fitness workouts?
Fitness workouts, it varies, because I can tell you, I'm like seasonal. Like I have, like we're going into my boxing season right now. Like I love boxing because you're exhausted, and I just love hitting things. I feel it's therapeutic to hit things, especially when you're a parent. You can't hit your children, right? So
true.
I need to hit something because my workday was stressful, whatever it is. So yeah, I love boxing. And then usually in the beginning of the year, I go into CrossFit, and then I have like a strength part where I just lift heavy. So it depends on just, I vary it up because I like to be challenged, and that's what fitness should be. You should always kind of challenge yourself a little bit. So I do love being challenged. So I kind of like, if you tell me tomorrow, Rita, like try out pole dancing, I've done that. I'll try it out because I'm like, if you tell me it's a good workout, yeah, I love to have something that's different. Because when I go from boxing to CrossFit, like it is so different. And it's almost like my body has to readjust because, it's just a completely different beast. I love that change and that transition where you're always kind of testing your body. I mean, COVID has humbled me a little bit. I haven't been able to lift my weights like but
Yeah.
yeah, so that has been a little bit of a, testing point. But when you love fitness, you find a way. And then, and the beautiful thing of that, I always use my kids in my workout because they're extra weight. And to them, they feel like I am, we're bonding, we're doing something together. That's how they see it. And it's great because I'm seeing it like, no, I need to do some lunges. So I'm going to throw you on my back. You know what I mean? Because I don't have heavy, like I have weights at home. I don't have like, 300 pounds and, I don't have that. So a lot of times I use them and they, they love it. So that has been like, that's what I've been doing during COVID. Throw them on my back.
Right. And COVID has definitely humbled many people. So I understand. So speaking of COVID, how do you stay motivated, positive, and encouraged during this time and just in general?
I mean, health is a journey like anything else. So during this time, it has been a mixture of just listening to other people. 'Cause I do listen to, sometimes in the morning you wake up. The morning is the best time to program your brain. So it's the best time to listen to something that motivates you, whether it's gospel. 'Cause every now and then I need to listen to gospel. Every now and then it's like, what's his name? Gary, I forgot his name, but he's like Gary V. It's a lot of different, it's a lot of different motivational speakers that I listen to sometimes, and most of the time in the morning, because it kind of gets me going and gets me in the right mindset. Because you could easily stay in a place where it's like, oh my God, this is a horrible time of the year. 2020 is the worst. I'm going to give up on this year. We're going to start next year. But it's like, who says you have next year, right? If anything, COVID should have reminded you that tomorrow is not promised. COVID should have reminded you of like, what is most important in my life? Like my children, my health, like what's most important. And like, that's was a constant reminder because we didn't know who we're going to lose next or what's going to happen next. So it was just a reminder, like, before I was thinking about, I was into all kind of other stuff right before COVID. I was like, yeah, I need to, get new fitness outfits. So I need to buy new stuff. I was all into like different other stuff. And then COVID reminded me, buckle down. What it's really about is you taking care of yours and yourself and making sure, you continue to take care of your health, your children's health, continue to teach them that no matter what you're going through, there's always the other side to it. So I realized if I kept on talking on the phone and talking to my friends and being like in front of the kids, oh, this is horrible. I don't know what we're going to do. I don't know. Oh my God, we're losing money here. We're losing it stresses them out too. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, I had to kind of almost trick yourself through this hard part and just kind of, we're going to get through this. This is nothing. This is like, it's life. There's always stuff that happens in life. There's rainforest that's burning down right now. There's always stuff. It's like, you still have to like focus on today and let me take care of myself today. Let me try to do better today. Let me take care of the people around me, and do as much good as I can today and just, keep with that mindset. Because if you focus too into like the negative, it'll just pull you down and then you'll stay there. So you just got to keep on like, and that's what I keep doing. Like I listen to positive stuff, even if it's old motivational stuff, or gospel music or just, sometimes it's what's her name? I forgot her name. Nicki Minaj, as funny as that is. Sometimes she's just like, I'm feeling myself, whatever it is. Like I'll hear a song and because it's so positive and girl focused, I was like, yeah, you know what I mean? That's right. We need to like get our mind right and, push through this day. You know what I mean? Because who's going to do it for us if we don't do it, right? So Absolutely, that's kind of what it's taking it one day at a time. That's what I was doing all through COVID, one day at a time. I don't know what's coming tomorrow, but we can only focus on right now. Let's keep our health, as a priority. Let's, check in on the people we love. Remember to call them and say you love them because, tomorrow's not promised.
Very true. So how do you balance family, career, fitness, and you time?
Woo! Yeah, so that's a big one. So I mean, basically, as what I tell my clients to do, I mean, first I step back and I figured out what is most important or what I want to make time for, right? And then I kind of made a list of the things I want to include in my day. And then I kind of looked at what my day was at the time. And I realized like a lot of stuff wasn't necessary. I was spending an hour on Instagram. I was looking at everybody else's highlights. I was doing a lot of things that, is it really going to help me to my goal? So I had to just get more clear on like every day picking like 3 to 5 things that you must get done in a day, and try to get them done early. So at least by the time you go to bed, you feel accomplished. So it's just, it's basically that, just making like 5 things. If I really make a to-do list of everything I have to do, it's kind of like, that's not going to happen. But if I pick out like 5 things that like I must get done, like I want to get done today, then that at least you get it done. And then you feel good at the end of the day. You did get some of your stuff done. You know what I mean? You're not overwhelmed because you only picked 5, you know? So that's been how I get everything in. Like I make sure some family time, if I could collaborate, which I usually do, collaborate family time and fitness. That's what I've been doing. Like that takes a lot of time out of my day, you know, like,
Right.
right. So as much as, because we're good at multitasking. So if you could find a way to do both, you know, if you could do something that your kids love, take them with you when you're supermarket shopping, have them cook with you, just things that, you know, you could kind of incorporate them on, or your friends, like whatever the 5 things you want to get done in that day, if you could somehow bring them together in a way, then it just makes your day go by easier and more productive. So that's kind of what I tend to do. Like the night before, I plan out the next day. I'm really at this point, funny because I'll plan out my meal and everything. Like if I didn't meal prep usually I meal prep Sunday and Wednesday. But if I didn't, I would do the day before, like, okay, what am I eating? So that way, like when I get hungry, I don't have to think about it. And then I make a bad choice. Or when I kind of know, okay, where the kid's going to be, they're going to track at this time. Or, I kind of have a set idea when I wake up in the morning, what I'm trying to get done. And that's kind of like, that kind of helps me. Because it's like, once you wake up and you don't really have a plan, you just kind of like roam through the day. And before you know it, the time is like gone. And it's like, damn, I didn't get half the things I wanted to get done. So yeah, that's kind of how I do it.
And that is one of my struggles. I will do a schedule and I will probably have the 3 things off that schedule that I did the whole entire day. So I'm definitely trying to get better at going through and completing what's on the schedule. But I also have learned during this time is not to beat myself up.
Yes.
On what I didn't complete, because maybe it wasn't meant for me to complete in that day. Maybe it was meant for me to complete the next day, and just kind of let it go because it didn't happen. And I think that's the issue with a lot of people. They get guilt and they think about all night long. They can't sleep. Like, well, dang, I didn't do X, Y, and Z. Okay, right. Well, it's 12 o'clock at night. Are you going to do it at 12 o'clock? If not, let it go and go to sleep. So I think that's one of the major things that we as women do.
Right.
We're very guilty of doing that. So,
and on top of that, we need to get comfortable asking for help, because there shouldn't be 100 things on your list, especially if you're a family and you have kids of different ages, or you have in-laws, husband, whatever it is. You shouldn't be 100 things on your list. Some of these things are family things. They're not all you. So we have to also be able to delegate. Like, okay, my kids are old enough. They could do the laundry. They could wash dishes. Like, why am I doing everything for the household? That's how we break down as women. We're doing way too much. We have to stay in our role too. Like, you know what? This is what I'm going to do today. And if everything else doesn't get done, then it doesn't get done. But priority is my health. Priority is to make sure the family's eating. Whatever the priority is for you for that day, you got to just have your 3 things you want to check off that you're going to give yourself props for. I did these 3 things, right? And then let it go. And then another thing other than delegating, because we have a problem delegating. I do see that a lot. And sometimes when you do ask people, they don't usually say no. They're like, yeah, you are doing a lot. Sure, I'll do this. But we like to control things. No, I have to make the food. No, I have to do the groceries. No, you don't have to.
Right.
They'll figure it out. They might get it wrong a few times, but eventually they'll figure it out, and that leaves time for you to do other stuff. And another thing is just saying no. Like, a lot of times we are quick to help the world, and you have to kind of, which is not bad, but you have to kind of say that these are the things I need to get done today. After I do that, then I'll be able to do the other stuff for you. You know what I mean? But right now I need to get this. And say no. And then cut out activities that drain you or waste your time. Sometimes, like I always say Instagram, because I'm not really a Facebook person. But I love seeing people's positive, people successful, people just being happy. That's why I love pictures. But if you're seeing that it's making you feel like you're less, or it's making you question like, oh my God, I don't have a six pack. Oh my God, I don't have this. Then maybe don't be on Instagram that long, because it's not feeding positivity to you. It's not helping you grow. It's actually tearing you down. So sometimes you do have to check and see and cut out activities or people who are taking us away from our goal. You know what I mean? Because that's another thing too. Like if you're just, sometimes you're wasting your time and you don't realize it because you're trying to do everything else for other people. You know what I mean? Or you're spending it on Instagram or whatever it is. So it's just also bringing it back to, there's a place for everything, basically.
Right.
You just have to prioritize where the place is in your life for these things.
Right. And I think people get so caught up with social media, and we don't realize what we see is a picture. We don't really know what that person has experienced, what their life look like, anything like that. So I think we should definitely stop getting caught up in that, because it's a glimpse of that person at the moment. So we need to stop thinking that, okay, well, they got a six pack. Oh my goodness, they're so glamorous. I want to be glamorous.
Right.
It could be the only outfit they have in their closet. We do not know. So that's what we need to stop doing. And definitely the part about asking for help is very important, because we as women, we don't ask for help. And then when somebody does something, we're complaining because it's not the way that we do it, but we don't look at the fact of that person took the time to assist us, even though it may not look the way that you want it to look, but it gave you a moment away from what that break, because it was done.
Exactly. That's the point right there. It gives you time to do what you need to do. So you have to be okay at like commending them too. Like, thanks for picking up the laundry. Like my kids don't always do the laundry right, and it's like I have to catch myself. Like, that's still great that you did the laundry. Wonderful. Right. Because we want it done how we want it, and every now and then you have to remember that they're not you, and that's okay. But just to go back to what you said about Instagram and just social media, like, yeah, our society is too much into social media. Like, nobody's life is perfect. Everybody has crap going on. Nobody's body is perfect. They're really not. Like, if you see them in person, a lot of it is like when you take a picture, there's ways to take a picture that make you look better. There's makeup, there's other things. So, like, we cannot get caught up in the look. Get caught up in how you feel and just your body being the best it can be, your mind being the best it could be, because you were made your way, for a purpose, else you would have looked exactly like each other if that was the goal, you know what I mean? But God made us all different. So you have to step back. And I worry about the new generations, because I had clients who were suicidal because somebody didn't like the picture, or everybody likes her picture. And it's like, are you kidding? And they couldn't see they look beautiful. They just were focused on social media. And if people don't like you, that means there's something wrong with you. And it's like, no, what is that? Yeah. We need to get back into just ourselves and you like you. Make sure you like you. That's the biggest thing. If you don't like you and the things you're doing, then that's the problem. You know what I mean? But everybody else doesn't have to like you. And that's what I feel like the generation is missing. But I go on all day about that.
So that's where self-love comes in. You learn to love yourself, and then you don't worry about what somebody has to say about you. So that's where that starts. So speaking of that, how do you provide self-care for yourself?
Self-care. I mean, it's a part of my daily habit. So self-care, fitness is self-care for me because it makes me feel good. It's my therapy. What else? Self-care. I try to, I think prepping food is also therapeutic, as weird as that sounds. Like, I love cutting up vegetables, and I love that. I try to take an hour a week just to pamper myself. It's just making sure it's a part of your schedule, like different parts in your day where you just recognize, I'm doing okay, I'm doing good. And that's something I have to have in my day, as nerdy as that sound, like I have to remind myself, like, even though you missed this meeting or even though this didn't go right, like you're doing great. Like you are doing great. And so that's part of self-love. It's just also acknowledging your strengths, acknowledging what you're doing right, not beating yourself down, because easily you could beat yourself down.
Right.
Not criticizing yourself so much, because criticizing, it's one thing to say I could do this better, but it's also something where you're hounding yourself and just like tearing yourself up. So I definitely try to make time for things that make me feel good. So fitness does make me feel good. I love going for long walks. I love bike riding. I like putting in a good sweat, like getting a good sweat at a workout. If it challenges me like that, it makes me a better parent. Like I come back home and I'm like a big kid. And if I don't have my workout that morning, I am more likely to be cranky. If I don't eat good or I didn't eat for a period of time, I am more cranky. So I realize like just taking care of myself is self-love. So me eating really good, like when I have a perfect eating day with no junk, like I feel my best, and that's kind of like addictive. When I have a bag of chips or do something that's not out of the norm that's out of the norm for me, I instantly get a headache, or like I start feeling stuffy, or I realize like my body responds right away when I do something out of the norm. So for me, self-love is just kind of like just taking care of yourself, just relaxing, having a moment to like meditate, because meditate is a big deal. I don't make enough time for it. I feel I don't make enough time for it. I don't do it daily. I probably do it 3 times a week just to try to clear your head. But it's a beautiful thing. Like if you really get good at it, which I don't think I'm good at it, but I'm, beginner level. But I've seen the benefits of just clearing your head and just having that peaceful moment. So, I mean, it's little things. I mean, for me, those are the things that make me feel good about myself, because it's like you immediately feel good. Like when you eat a really clean meal, as much as like, it might not be as comforting and, buttery or, whatever. I don't know. I just feel really good and I have a lot of energy. So it just makes you stand a little taller and feel a little cuter because your body is also feeling good, So, yeah, it's just, those are the boring things.
Well, it's not boring. It's what makes you feel good.
Yeah.
It's what you provide for yourself, for self-care, for self-love, for you. So what it looks like for somebody else, that's what makes them happy. So definitely if
Exactly.
that's what you enjoy. But I
I
definitely
changed.
read the first 15 minutes to an hour of how you start your morning determines your day. And
Exactly.
I do believe that. I believe if you wake up, you pray, you read the Bible, you meditate, whatever, you exercise, whatever you decide to do for the start of your morning, that should be something positive. It shouldn't be, you jump on social media and the first thing you see is somebody got shot again today or last
Right.
night or whatever. So
Right. It's a
don't,
big deal.
right. So don't jump on social media, because the first thing you see may not be something positive. It may be something negative. So I think that's important. So
Yeah, it's a big deal. Morning routine is a big deal. Like that's what I harper on. Like I'm always talking about just, it's kind of like it sets the course for your day. So you're definitely on the money with that. When I don't complete my morning routine, when I'm not like listening to my positive, radio podcast, or I'm not, having my breakfast and relaxing and just, it throws off my whole day. Like I have to have my, I have to go through my routine. It just helps me get in a better mindset and, be more productive for the day. So I get that. That is true. I'm like thinking about it right now. Yeah,
it is definitely a factor, and it's true. So what advice would you give other women who are struggling to lose weight, or, they want to lose weight, but they just don't know what steps to take?
Okay, so a lot of times it's little things. I would want them to step back and like write down what they're eating, have another list of what like their activities are through the day, or what the activity is not. Like if they're not active, like just keep track of what your activity level is. And to begin with, those are where you would start with. You would probably add something. If you're very sedentary, you just sit home, watch TV, and then maybe you should add like some jumping jacks. Add something that you're comfortable doing a little bit at a time or whatever. And with the food, look at where there's things. Most of the time we know what shouldn't be in our diet. We know because you can look it up on Google. You can look up workouts. You could find the information. The thing is that implementing it is another thing. Like, we know we shouldn't drink as much as we drink, or we know these things to be out. It's just like, you have to get real with yourself. Where do you want to be? You know, are you happy where you're at? Because if you're really not happy, then take out one of those things out of your list for the day. Like, one of the things you know shouldn't be there, work on taking it out. Because there shouldn't be nothing in your diet that you could say, I can't live without. There shouldn't be anything, because then that's a mental crutch. You know, even coffee. Yes, coffee is not horrible, but it can be a crutch if you're having it 3, 4, 5 times a day, and it can mess with your hormones. There's a lot of research with caffeine, especially for women. There's a lot of research with that. So I'm always like, yeah, look at your diet, and you know, you shouldn't have anything that I can't live without. That's a dangerous thing. Even if it's a person, you shouldn't have anything you can't live without, because you were born by yourself. You were born by yourself, right? So God,
and you're gonna die by yourself. You're gonna be buried, cremated, or whatever by yourself. So yeah, that makes sense.
Right. And if you want, and God made you by yourself, so if He wanted you with anything else, He would have included it upon birth, right? So everything else is things you chose to bring into your life. So if you're bringing things in your life that's not good, then you have to reflect. Sometimes it's also like you're not loving yourself enough. Because if I know this Pepsi can strip the paint off a car. If I know Pepsi can do that, why am I putting it in myself? Like, it's also partly a self-love thing. I know I'm going to get a little hate on this because I always harp on soda and stuff like that. But when you see what's in your food, you have to kind of make choices. Like, you know, the same way you make choices with your children. When you see what's in some of the food or whatever, you have to say, you know, this is not good enough for me. The same way you would do that with like a love interest. If you see they're treating you bad, he's not good enough for me, right? So the same idea. So why is Pepsi good enough? Well, you know, Pepsi is trying to slowly, you know, mess up your hormones. You know, all this is like 5 times the amount of sugar you should have in a day is in one cup, you know, 1 cup of Pepsi. You know what I mean? So it's like, you got to kind of reevaluate that. And then my other biggest tip is just add water. Like I usually suggest at least half your body weight in ounces of water. Water by itself, if you cut out all your other liquids that you drink for the day, I mean, not tea, because tea is fine as long as there's no sugar in it. But if you cut out everything else, juice, anything else, and you just drink water, that by itself would help you loosen up, lose a little bit of fat. Because most of the time we have a lot of calories just in our drinks. And if you go to anywhere, any fast food place, they're giving you a 32-ounce cup or something, or supersize, and that's a ridiculous amount of, you know, sugar. So just by itself, yeah, I would say drink water. Drink water. If you want to add a lemon to it, because some people hate the taste of water. If you want to add fruits to it, fine. But if you just drink water and cut out every other liquid for the day, you know, you'll be better off. And, you know, and know what you're eating, know what you're putting in your body. You know, I'm always big on looking at the ingredients to things. And if you don't know what it is, if you Google it and you don't know what it is, then why? Why are we putting that in our body? Especially in America, where you can look up everything. You can find, you know, yeah, you may have to travel a little further, but you can find so much different types of food. And I know our food is not perfect, because they slowly trying to kill us in a way too. But I mean, it's always like, I tell my families a lot of times too, like, if you know better, do better. So if you know this is not good for you, you know, yeah, we might not be able to get the perfect, you know, strand of quinoa or the perfect, you know, but you know this is not, you know, soda is not really good for you.